But first, we return to our series of conversations about sexual assault and harassment around the country. Yesterday, Judy Woodruff recorded this discussion about the extraordinary challenges low-wage service workers face when they come forward to share their stories.
Every day in the U.S., about 50 people are sexually assaulted or raped in the workplace, according to the Department of Justice. It's a problem that extends well beyond the entertainment industry and politics to all lines of work. That includes the people who work in hotels, clean offices, and serve food. Alejandra Valles is the Secretary-Treasurer of SEIU United Service Workers West. Her union in California represents over 45,000 service workers. She has been spearheading efforts to prioritize issues facing women in the union. And Bernice Yeung, reporter for Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting and author of the forthcoming book, In a Day's Work, the fight to end sexual violence against America's most vulnerable workers. Thank you both for being with us. Bernice Yeung, let me start with you. We've been hearing so much lately in the news about men in the entertainment industry, men in the news media and politics going after women. Tell us about the women you've been reporting on and talking to. Who are they?
These are the women, they're immigrant women working in low-wage jobs, essentially the jobs that remain invisible and sometimes on purpose. The women on the night shift cleaning office buildings, the women picking our fruits and vegetables in the fields, cleaning our hotel rooms, taking care of our children as domestic workers, people who are often easy to overlook. But they're women who often are laboring in isolation, and that makes them sometimes particularly vulnerable to very extreme forms of sexual harassment and sexual assault on the job.
How are their experiences of harassment and worse different from what we've been hearing about on the part of other women?
Well, I think that there are very many similarities. There's essentially a shared abuse of power by somebody in a position of power. And in the situation of a low-wage immigrant worker, there are very many ways in which that power can be abused. For example, when you are going paycheck to paycheck, the ability to hire, fire, take away hours, these are very powerful weapons that supervisors can use against the workers. It makes it very difficult to come forward and very difficult to report this type of abuse. It's also used against them to keep them silent. The other very kind of prominent difference between what we're seeing in the news media and the workers that I've been covering is immigration status. That is often another threat that is used against them, threats of deportation. And for a lot of the women who are sometimes single mothers, providing for families back in the home country, this is just not, separation from their families is just not something that they can really contemplate.
I want to show everyone now a clip from a documentary that you were the lead reporter on. This was a documentary done by the PBS program Frontline in conjunction with Reveal. Let's take a look.
Esta persona trató de abusar de mí. Me golpeó. No sé cómo me defendí. No, él sabía que no había cámaras. Yo gritaba y nadie me iba a oír, nadie me podía ver. Fui yo a la oficina a entregar las llaves y les dije al supervisor de él, no puedo más. Dice, ¿por qué? Y yo le dije, you know what you're doing. You know what is happening. Y me dice, I don't know what you're talking about. Digo, yes, you know what I'm talking about. Y cuando me fui le dije, va a haber alguien que va a abrir la boca. Yo nunca me imaginé que iba a ser yo la que iba a abrir la boca.
Very difficult to watch. And I want to turn now to Alejandra Valles. You showed this to members, some women who were members of your union. What was the reaction when they saw this documentary?
We showed this documentary to over 100 of our top rank and file leaders, many janitors, but many women of color. And the reaction was shocking. One woman after another woman stood up. By the end of our meeting, we had spent the entire time talking about not just sexual harassment, but rape and assault on some of these tenants' desks and some of the building floors. So it was just an incredible, powerful moment of reflection of not just incidents that had happened in the last several months since the documentary had come out, but going back years to the 80s, to the 90s.
Well, we know, Alejandra Valles, that you worked in California to change the laws, to try to help these women, to put in a new system that allows them to find a way to report. Tell us just a little about that.
The women actually themselves, which are started a group called the promotoras, which are really the teachers that create consciousness in the worksite around sexual assault, rape, and harassment. And so they decided that they wanted to do something to really tackle this underground economy in all of the state, not just for union workers. And so we fought all of 2016 to pass AB 1978 that would ensure that every janitorial contractor in the industry had to register with the state and had to ensure that they provided training to the workers that really spoke to those workers specifically. We know that what we're seeing right now with the Me Too movement, there is so much around policy and laws, but unless you really speak to a workplace and the culture of that workplace, you are not going to have the impact that you want to ensure that you can start changing culture.
Bernice Yeung, how many states or how much of the country has protections in place like what we're hearing Alejandra describe in California?
Unfortunately, I think too few. California has been really activated around this issue related to farm work and janitorial services, but I'm hard-pressed to think of very many other states that actually have targeted these industries specifically for sexual harassment protections. They're just treated like everybody else, but as we know, their circumstances are different.
So what needs to be done? I mean, I want to ask both of you. Bernice, you've been reporting on this for quite some time. What do other states, whether it's labor unions or other groups, what do they need to be aware of? What do they need to change?
What I've discovered in looking at farm workers and janitors and other low-wage immigrant workers is that training can be really crucial. Once workers are empowered to exercise their rights, they will. And furthermore, these trainings are a very strong message and symbol, oftentimes, to bad actors that this behavior will not be tolerated. And it also encourages people to come forward and to say, this shouldn't just fall on the victim to report the issue. There should be allies, there should be male and female coworkers and colleagues who come forward and say, this is not okay, this is not an environment and a workplace in which we will tolerate this behavior. And I think that's the culture change we need to see.
Alejandra Valles, what would you add to that? What do other states need to know? What kinds of things do they need to do, whether it's at the state or the federal or the local level?
Dusting off your HR policy is not enough. What we need to do is look at every workplace specifically, give workers a voice, give survivors a voice. We all know, whether it's in the break room or on the sets, what the culture of that workplace looks like. We have a transformative moment right now to say ya basta and to change the culture from within, industry by industry.
It is such an important message and a powerful message, important for everyone to hear. Alejandra Valles, thank you. Bernice Yeung, thank you both.
Thank you for having us.